My name is Henry Schulz. I'm a four-year sixth former from New York City, and I'm going to talk about everyone in this chapel tonight. I think that Millbrook students don't realize the power we have. Yes, we're part of an elite minority of high schoolers who receive a world-class education. This is partly recognized, but I feel that students don't know that we're also part of a movement. On my way back from an arts trip in New York City, I overheard a conversation between a couple of students and a faculty member about what generation they were in. The faculty member knew exactly what her generation label was, but the students had absolutely no idea. What even are millennials? What's Generation Z? I have no idea what generation I'm a part of. After a Google search, the students were more clear on what defines the generations. But I'll clarify it again for everyone else. Generation Z is the demographic cohort after millennials, or people born in the early 1980s as starting birth years, in the mid-1990s to early 2000s as ending birth years. Generation Z overlaps with the millennials because the starting birth years are the mid-1990s to mid-2000s. I've noticed that most kids my age identify as a Generation Zer, but I have a problem with the title, Generation Z. It implies we are irrelevant, the last letter to the alphabet of global influence and change, for better or worse. Another term that has been coined for us is the pivotal generation. I love this. Pivotal is crucial, vital. I think every student in this room should be proud of that title. Members of our pivotal club are the Parkland High School students, the brave 14 to 18-year-olds who stared into the cameras of national news stations to demand political change, minutes after the blood of their classmates was spilled on the floor of their classrooms. They have organized national demonstrations and are incessant congressional lobbyers for stronger gun control. That's not the action of a bunch of irrelevant teenagers. That's pivotal. Recently, I've read a lot of articles about our generation and its role in the gun control movement. One night, I was browsing the New York Times and found an article that caught my eye. Are today's teenagers smarter and better than we think? The author contrasted the mentally and socially detrimental effects of social media with the incredibly effective usage of it by the Parkland students. The author quoted Neil Howell, a historian who has written many books about Generation Z. He said that Zers are, quote, very good at using rules to make their point, and they're absolutely excellent at negotiating with their parents in a reasonable way. He goes on, this is not a throw the brick through the window and burn stuff down group of kids at all. They're working very constructively, arm in arm with older people they trust, to make big institutions work better and make them stronger and more effective. The key phrase here is older people. Yes, teenagers have been working with adults to fund dissent campaigns and have tried to work with policymakers. But I think Neil misses a crucial point. He talks about the collaborative effort with older generations, but does not explain how we were able to do this. We can negotiate, work constructively, and make big institutions work better because of the older people standing around us and up in that balcony. Teachers, know that this is a relative term. You're all very youthful. Our generation has been in the media limelight ever since the horrific shooting at Stoneman Douglas High School. However, teachers have been left in the shadows. There's been a lively debate about gun control on this campus, but it is focused around political ideology and the bravery of those students. I know that Stoneman Douglas is not Millbrook, but we are all pivotals, and pivotals can only be essential if they have been inspired and educated. Look around. These are our mentors. Pivotal as a title has been given to us, and right now, I think that our generation is proving that we have earned it. However, we're leading the way because we're being led forth by our education, by our teachers. Parkland activist Emma Gonzalez cited Tinker versus Des Moines, a Supreme Court case she studied in AP government, in a speech. This monumental case defined constitutional rights for public school students in the US. She said that Marjorie Stoneman Douglas will be the Tinker versus Des Moines for creating stricter gun laws. When I heard this citing of a fact from a history class, it reminded me of the endless notes that take up the lined pages of my various class notebooks. I started thinking about how the rapid movement of my pencil tries to record the information that flows from the front of the classroom to my ears. That short migration of knowledge is both a precious commodity and our weapon. It educates us and is the beginning of the process of synthesis, the enlightenment that leads to the global application of knowledge that allows us to negotiate on behalf of the future of this world. This spring, I've begun to notice the details. Specifically, I've looked to the names of the famous scientists like Galileo and Einstein that are stenciled near the ceilings in math. For the past 3 years, I have taken for granted Millbrook as a space for learning. When I place my hands on the cold glass windows of the masked door, or hear the creaking of the schoolhouse hinge as I open that door, I'm entering into an incubator for nuanced and empathetic thinking, a breeding ground for leaders. I haven't always been conscious of this, but as my last year at this school winds down, the educational spaces on this campus have been amplified in my mind. I've learned something from each and every classroom and the mentor at the head of it. I haven't only absorbed heated intellectual debate with my ears, but I have breathed in an air full of sound logic, counter-argument, and creative spirit. I used to think of extra help as a free block. It used to be a nice 45-minute breather for me after consecutive classes. This perspective quickly faded after my fourth form year when I realized 3 things. First, every time I didn't attend one, I was actively detracting from my intellectual experience. Second, individual discussion with your teachers is as imperative as being attentive during class. And third, most teachers at Millbrook take giving individual attention to students as seriously as planning their syllabuses. I want to share these 3 revelations with the rest of the student body tonight because I believe that, like the classrooms that are a space for breeding deep thought, the individual attention that teachers give you is what makes us pivotal. When I sit across from any of my teachers during extra help, it's clear that they find joy in watching me think. I know that when I'm processing information, there's this silence that fills the air. However, it's not an awkward pause. It's this mutual understanding between teacher and pupil that the beautiful human mind is taking its time. Then, when I figure something out, I smile. Teachers express that same elation. It's a mirror reflecting academic excitement. Tomorrow during extra help, stop by one of your teachers and just talk about something. After hearing this chapel talk, I think you'll notice that your teacher will enjoy sitting across from you as you exercise your cerebral powers. Now, I'll tell you why extra help is a crucial part of Gen Z's development. Recognition is important. Intrinsic motivation can sustain some people's willpower to succeed, but I believe that a balance between internal drive and external acknowledgement is what generates the disposition of a nuanced, bold, and transformative leader. I believe extra help allows Millbrook kids to tap into this balance. The intrinsic motivation is that students choose to attend extra help. They are driven by the desire to genuinely improve. Externally, the student knows they will be recognized by the teacher for going. This provides incentive that perpetuates the balance between internal and external factors. I believe that extra help is the block dedicated to growing leadership. This doesn't seem obvious at the surface, but the interaction between teacher and student in this setting brews the type of courageous leadership that we've seen on CNN. Teenagers that know internally they are following a deeply embedded intuition, and externally understand that being known as the face of the future inspires everyone. This is a wake-up call and a thank you. I graduate in 10 days, and when I walk across that stage, I need to know that fellow students know they are equipped for the future. I also need to know that Millbrook kids are grateful for who equipped them. When I walk across that stage, I will be looking into the eyes of every single faculty member, and the word selfless will probably enter my jubilated mind. They don't work in overly air-conditioned skyscrapers looking out to an expansive metropolis. They don't have titles like CEO or president. Instead, they have passion and patience. Their passion comes from the selfless desire to shape a generation, the future. Their patience is the steady hand that paves and maintains a path for each and every one of us. The success of this chapel talk hinges on every student here. My hope is that at some point, every Millbrook student realizes the incredible influence teachers have had on them. I'm going to take this moment to thank them. To every single faculty member in this chapel, thank you for inspiring the future of this world every single day. You're all heroes. Thank you.